So the spirits really wanted to talk about your house, your flat, wherever it is that you live, or we live, in terms of energy and spiritual energy as well. And since the law of attraction, we talked about the law of attraction in the other video, which is really important that they wanted to talk about. So the law of attraction means also that in our house is almost our immediate shell, almost of our spiritual, and then in the place that is closest to us. So it will be an exact reflection of our inner self, our house. And so if we leave our house in absolute chaos, it might not bother us at all. If the outside things do bother us and we have it in chaos, that's saying something different. And that is affecting our energy quite deeply. It might be that there's certain things in our life that we just haven't dealt with and that we can't deal with, so therefore we leave certain rooms in a kind of chaos. So what we need to do in order to help ourselves, is what they want to talk about, is to really home in on areas of our house, which is our outside reflection, really zoom in on areas of our house that we really don't like. The uglier areas, or the messy or dirty, and the kind of areas that we just always walk past. We don't want to look at it. We just try and think of something else every time we go past it. And they really want to say, go to that place and clean it, make it nice, make it tidy, make it as best as you can. There'll be all sorts of things. You start probably with cleaning, if that's what it needs. It might need a bit of paint, it might need a bit of whatever it needs. You might not need to throw a lot of money at it. It's not about money, actually. It's about, we talked about energy in the last video of the law of attraction. And if we've got an area of our house that is just pretty horrible, it is a sure sign to us that that is a spiritual leak. And a spiritual leak in energy is a dangerous thing, because that is where it's like if you're really into home security and you leave your windows open. That makes no sense. In terms of a spiritual body, leaving our windows open, leaving gaps and holes and breakages in our spiritual body is obviously going to leak energy. If we leak energy, we don't have our full energy source. If we don't have our full energy source, we don't attract, by law of attraction, so many good and wonderful things which we want to do. So they really want to direct us to areas in our house. If we're someone who gets affected, it's a different kettle of fish. If it's a different thing if we're not so affected by our external environment. All of us are affected to greater or lesser degrees depending on ourselves and our characters, etc. But if you find yourself going past areas in your house, or avoiding, or even hiding it, perhaps putting things against it so that you can't, there's a surefire. It's really pointing to, and they want to point to address it somehow in a positive way. If we're energy in that area, that ugly area reflects us back. We've got something there we have to look at. And usually we don't want to go towards or anywhere near a really dark vibration, which can be equivalent to a leak in energy. We don't want to go to a dark vibration. If, however, we choose not to go anywhere near there and avoid it all the time, other darker spirits will very happily be going in there and feeding on that little weak area, coming in the windows, having a look round, seeing what's there. It's like a weak point. We can't afford, as spiritual bodies, we all have weak points, of course, but we can't really afford to nurture and not look after these weak areas. We have to, as a spiritual body, they want to express our spiritual body is very much like a vase. We think of ourselves as a vase containing all of our water. If we have breaks and cracks in our vase, little cracks, imagine how much water gets leaked out. Does that water get wasted? No, of course not. Something will be along there. Something will be along there to lap up that energy and lap it for themselves. It's a survival. Life is about survival here. And there will be something coming along to survive off that leak. We don't want that. We want to be our whole energetic selves, to create the lives that we want for ourselves, with full of joy and happiness and love, whatever it is that we want. So we don't want cracks in our spiritual bodies. So they really want to direct us to go to those areas in our house, those dirty, there really are areas that we don't want to go to. And there might be some really nasty, traumatic stuff hiding there, I'm afraid. And if we really want to change our lives, since law of attraction is in operation all the time, we just have to go there. We have to go there and just clean it. Just clean it. Go and clean it. A little bit of paint, whatever it is. When you've done that job, things will pop up for you. Guaranteed, things will pop up, because where that place was dark and had dark things moving around it, in a sense you'd uncreated that area. Because we create our life, we create our energy as well. We don't create our energy, but we create the things with our focus. Our energy creates things. Energy also creates that hole over there of low vibration. We are created by not addressing it or not looking at something that's hurt our energy in the past, perhaps a trauma of some sort. By not going there, not filling that hole, not mending the crack, we are almost uncreating something, because we have to create everything in our life. So we're uncreating the stop in there. We are uncreating it. We have to go create that mend. We have to create a mend, create a fix. And we are doing that by changing a negative place into a positive place, because our energy is fundamentally and always was positive. So when we have created positive energy over that gap area, wherever that was in our flat or in our house or in our mansion, whatever that was, we have created something that wasn't there before. We've created something that wasn't there, but then now is there. And that will mean that whatever energy was being leaked in that very dark, traumatic area that you had, whatever energy was being leaked there will stop being leaked, and something will change. You will be gifted your energy back, and something will shift, something will change in your life. Something will be dramatic, will be really positive change. There will be a positive change. And so even better to go round all areas of our house and to make sure that there aren't dank, dark, nasty corners. You know, it sounds like I've got a really horrible house, but you can even live in a mansion, and if a person has got these kind of traumatic areas or something, it might just even be a toilet or a little corner or somewhere, or even if you open their cupboards, there'll be something that isn't just nice in there. So it doesn't matter what kind of place we're living in. The outside of the house will somehow be reflecting that. They might have a fabulous house, but you go in the garage and it's like a bomb. This is the bomb. But again, that is alluding to the fact that there is somewhere there's a big leak in their spirit. And something would have caused that. You know, historically, something would have caused that. But by not addressing these leaks, we are also using energy to maintain a very low vibration in that area. So it's like that leak over there. We use a lot of energy in keeping it almost, we just keep that negative pattern running and running and running and running and running and running and running. That takes a lot of energy. Much better to fix the leak. We get that energy back then. We as much keep negative patterns running as positive vibrational patterns running. And so we really want to reclaim back that energy from those negative patterns that we're creating. You know, we talked about in the law of attraction, that massive boulder of perhaps financial fear. And it takes a lot of energy to keep on. It's like being vengeful or something. You have to feed that fire with energy. You have to feed that negative boulder. It takes a lot of energy to make something negative. You know, we don't want to pour all that energy, but it takes a lot of this. This is where we can drain so much of our energy. If we have multiple traumas, we can drain so much of our energy by having to. It's like an aeroplane that has to keep that. What is it? Where they can't land yet. They keep that pattern going. The word's gone. They keep that momentum pattern going and going and going, because that's the truth. That's the reality, and truth must always be. Truth is always reflected by law of attraction. So if the truth is trauma on something, that vibration will have to be maintained in a negative thing. So this massive boulder has to maintain a negative pattern to keep itself alive. Keep it going like that all the time, all the time, all the time. It's very exhausting using all that energy to maintain this negativity. So stop doing that. Clean our corners, clean our cupboards, and it's a massive amount of work. And it will be, if there's something there for you, it will be the very last thing you will want to do. And that's a clue, because those darker beings that are feeding off this leak, because we've got all this good stuff oozing out from you, all that lovely energy oozing out from you, going into that dirty corner. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's lovely. They're enjoying themselves. So by them having darkness there, you're just not going to want to go there, because it's, that's exactly what they want. That's exactly the vibe they want, for you not to go over to that area, not to go over there. Perhaps it's a spot of damp on the wall. You always go past it and absolutely hate it, and they're going, yay! She never comes over this area. Why? Why does she never go there? Why does she hide, or he hide it? Why hide? Why? It's they will not want us to go there, because it's hiding something. And it's hiding our leak from which they feed. Yeah. So they really, and ideally to go around our whole house bit by bit, perhaps we live in a bedsit. Perhaps we only live in a small flat or a room. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. Perhaps we just have one room. But if you have issues, there will be, perhaps you always hate that it's a mess. Change it. Get an organizational structure. Mess in terms of a healthy spirit is never great. Things can get in. Lots of things can get in with mess. Darker spiritual vibrations are all over that. When we organize and tidy our room, we are energetically, we are scouring every inch of our spiritual body. And we keep scouring it for any leaks, faults, fault lines, cracks, anything like that. So we're always maintaining, which we should be, a very careful and loving eye on our health, our spiritual health. You know, if you've got a cracked window, the thing is, if your room is an absolute mess, you're not going to notice the cracked window. So it's almost like we don't notice those leaks if we can't keep a tidy place around us. We need to clear things out so that we see and we can maintain and look after our spiritual bodies, which is crucial because we are all energy. We are all energy. And so it's like healthy maintenance, really. You know, and even more so if we can organise ourselves so that everything in our rooms is really organised. It's a really, really spiritually healthy thing to do. Because any number of nasty can hide in mess. Even if it's a tiny, tiny amount of mess, a small amount of mess. It's a way for negativity to hide. So you might have a lovely, lovely house and then this one area, I'm not saying everything has to be really clean, of course not. It's not about tidiness. It's not about tidiness. You know, there's a comfortable way where things are just in a normal, comfortable way where things are not chaotic, which is fine, we're comfortable with. There's a difference between that and there's a difference between, it's mostly about how we feel about a particular kind of mess. It's, you know, we might find that we're completely comfortable with our room, but there's this area over there where we keep perhaps it's all our workbooks and education books that are in an absolute mess. Organisational mess as well, nothing organised. That is a direct commentary on how we are feeling about those education and our book and how we think our course is going, how we think we're doing in the course. It's a direct comment on that. If we start to organise that area that upsets us most, we will start to see where our problems are, and then we'll be able to address them with energy. Any areas that we've allowed to almost go to seed in our house or room or space is talking to us about our energy leaks. We have to listen to where our energies are leaking. You know, to address that, we have to listen to where our energies are leaking. You know, we might be completely overwhelmed by the course that we're on, actually. And so that leaving our books in a certain gone to seed way is our way of truth has to find its way forward. Truth wins out. Truth always speaks. That is the truth speaking. Perhaps we're overwhelmed by the course. We actually feel we're going to fail. We don't think we can do this, actually. And that the way we are putting our books and organising everything, that is what that is telling us. So by organising it and just going to those areas that we really kind of hate, we find completely messy and disorganised, that's how we feel about them. Those are the areas to go to with courage, because it does take a lot of bravery to go there and to start untangling. And then finding out, once we start untangling these areas or tidying or cleaning these areas, we, instead of allowing holes and leaks again, we are putting creative energy into that area. We are flooding it where it's had no energy in it, no creative energy in it, except disaster and negativity. We are feeding positive creative energy into that area. once we start to tidy up our books, perhaps we can then, and we'll surprise ourselves perhaps by coming up with strategies or ways to address something positively, which will surprise us completely. The longer we leave it in chaos, in mess, it's just going to win over us. And of course, that as an energy, say, of the chaos of those books, educational books or of a course or whatever, all that negative, if it's kept in a negative state of chaos, we are allowing that boulder to grow. We are feeding the growth. Every time we have that awful negative thought, oh, I'm going to fail that course. I'm going to fail that course. The boulder grows. We've put more energy into that negative boulder growing. So the house as a reflection, or the area, or the table, or the space, is such an important reflection of truth. It speaks our truth. So we only need to look around, look at the ceiling, look at the corners, look at the carpet. Carpet's going to be cleaned. Doesn't mean lots of money ever. It's not about money, it's about energy, positive energy. Putting something you find really negative, changing that to positive, and the changes will be monumental. Okay, that's what they want to talk about, is your house, your space, or your flat, or your bedsit, whatever it is, your space.